journey through that and through your later years in life.
Yes.
There's a ton of great stories, a lot of sex, a lot of drugs, a lot of rock and roll, a lot of sex. And your list is wonderful, by the way. And you know, us men that have been married for 25 years, we appreciate your candor.
Cool, I'm glad to hear that. I was wondering, since the book came out, I'm wondering. That's good to know.
It's fantastic. Okay, it's been out 2 days. Who was the first to call you and say, "What the hell, Lita? I thought we were friends."
Jackie Fox.
Really?
Yeah. Well, she sent me a message. I didn't do that. But that's just Jackie. She's always like that.
Still friends?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Did you have somebody that you expected to hear from?
I don't know. I think the shit is just now hitting the fan. Pretty much. You know, it's just all coming out. So one of the magazines, the New York Post, I believe it was, listed everybody I had sex with. And it just made it sound
The
like...
list. I mean, every idol that I own. I mean, can I say the top three at least?
Sure.
We're talking about my favorite guitar player of all time, Lita Ford. John Entwistle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glenn Tipton.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it for everybody. But it's tremendous. And like I said, I love the candor.
Awesome. Well, there's good stories around the sex. I mean, it's not just, you know,
Absolutely.
there's substance to the stories. So.
But like you say, if you were a male and you were telling your stories about those encounters, it would be a little bit of a different slant on it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be such a big deal. You know, if you were a male. I don't know. I hear these stories from these guys that they've had sex with different women and the things they've done to them. It's like, man, that's crazy. And then what I've done really isn't that crazy. It's just who I did it with.
Yeah.
Makes it like over the top.
Yeah, well, it's over the top. The list is just, there's names in there that I don't want to spoil.
No, I know.
When did you first decide to write? When did you say, I need to write a book? I need to get this out?
When I first came off the island, off the Caribbean island, and I lived on a deserted island for almost a decade. And when I came off the island, I filed for divorce. And as I was going through my divorce, I thought, Jesus, I've got to really look out. There's so many women in the music industry now, and I think they need role models. I never had a female role model when I was growing up. All my role models were men, which is fine because they only made me strong. But I want there to be a female role model for people, not just for women, but for men as well, for daughters, for sons, for the music industry, like this little girl. Little Lita. That's you.
Dee Snider writes the foreword in the book.
Yes.
And he says that you blame him for, thank you, Dee, blame him for your return to music.
Yeah.
Is that true? Was
Dee
the
was
inspiration for you coming back?
so just very encouraging. Always, come on, Lita, let's go play, let's jam, let's, inviting me to the shows and bringing me on stage. I worked out some stuff with his daughter. His daughter was 13. son was 13, and I put the two of them together on stage with me and Dee, and that was really fun. But Dee was just a big inspiration, ball of encouragement. His whole family, always there for me. He knew me as a rocker and as a mother. He knew me, he knew my family, he knows my kids. So he knows me in a lot of ways that a lot of other people don't.
Not anymore.
Right?
Yeah. Once you read it, you'll know Lita as a mother, as well as a rocker, as well as many, many others. In the acknowledgments section, you mentioned Martina Fasano as a co-writer for the book. I heard early on that you were working with Joel Self from San Hagar's book, The Stall Billboard. What happened with Joel Self? Why the switch? And if you could take us through the process, I think a lot of people wonder, are you on your laptop typing this from head to page? Or really?
I did.
I thought maybe you sat down and that co-writer put it to the text. So you actually typed all.
I typed it. I typed it all myself. I actually, I popped a wall and I broke my 5th metacarpal. And
it wasn't going well, I think?
well, there was a picture on the wall of someone that irritated me. So I just gently gave it a little, and it snapped my 5th metacarpal. And I just thought, there's nothing you can do for stuff like that. You just wrap it and hope that it heals right. And during that time, I had this broken bone in my hand. I wrote the book during that time. The people I was working with just weren't quite understanding what I was trying to tell them, because so much happened in such a short period of time that they felt like I was misleading them, and they weren't quite understanding, because I got my whole life story in this book, from the time I was pretty much born, my parents growing up in the Runaways.
Right.
I was a rock star by the time I was 16.
Touring, you met Bridget, my daughter, going about to be 16, and touring the world, Japan, crazed fans,
Yep.
turning your car over just about,
Yep.
At 16 years old, with little to no adult supervision.
Right.
Drugs, sex.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
But I wanted to get it all on paper, and even though my hand was broken, I still sat there on the computer and I wrote everything out, typed everything out, and I forwarded everything to Martina, and she just put it all together for me. Basically, that's what she did. She was just somebody to bounce ideas off.
Do it yourself.
So, and she was the right person, because she was just a rock and roll Italian attitude chick, and she was the right person. It had to be the right person.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And by reading it, it definitely tells the right person.
Yeah.
You spend quite a bit of the book talking about your parents. And I think there's a misconception that you're on the road in the Runaways, never home, touring the world, drugs, sex, that you come from a broken home. That's not true at all.
Right. No, you would think so, but it's the complete opposite. I think where I get my strength from is my parents, because they were so supportive of what I did. They never questioned me. They never said, "Oh, why are you coming home at 4 o'clock in the morning? Why do you smell like cigarettes and other stuff? Why are you drunk?" I mean, they just never questioned me. And if I was ever at a party and I couldn't get home, I could always call my dad. He would never ask. He would just say, "Get in the car, let's go." And he would never talk. He would just be quiet, silent. We would get home and I would go to bed. And he would never ask any questions.
Well, we wouldn't know you if they weren't like that. So we appreciate that, for sure. Cherie's book, Me and Angel, was the inspiration for the Runaways movie. Would you entertain the idea of making a film?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who do you see playing Lita Ford?
Yeah. Somebody asked me that the other day, and I really like Charlize Theron.
Oh,
I think she's just got this
Good choice.
beautiful, hot, strong, sexy, evil at the same time.
Evil's always good.
Yeah, good, yeah. I know, I just think she'd be awesome.
Fantastic. And I thought for sure you would say no to that one. Your first concert, Black Sabbath, speaking of evil.
Yeah,
You many years later go on to a relationship with Tony Iommi,
yeah.
actually engaged. It turns out that Tony was physically abusive, which I wasn't aware of, and that seems to be a big thing about the book that I've heard so far. Did you ever fear, because of his hero status, and so many people love Tony,
Yeah.
including yourself, that you get backlash from that? We don't want to hear that about our hero, especially now he has cancer and that. So, did you ever fear that when you were writing the book?
I did. I did fear that, but I wanted to put it in a way that I truly do feel. I was devastated to find out that my idol, the guy I looked up to, one who I don't know if I'd be playing guitar today, not for Black Sabbath. Guy I looked up to turned out to be physically abusive. And I was just devastated. I couldn't believe that this guy would be like that. And after our relationship was over, I rebelled big time. I went and got a tattoo on my shoulder, and I started drinking, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I thought, wow.
I can't imagine, because I'm reading it in the book and I'm devastated.
No.
Sabbath is my
Yeah.
all-time favorite band, and Tony just seems like the most pleasant, nicest, soft-spoken guy. And I read that, it was shocking, very shocking. And you walked us through it, and again, appreciate that candor and openness about that relationship. And it's great reading. It's really.
But in the end, I love Tony for his music, and that's what I loved him for in the very beginning. Anyway, so that is still there, and it will never go away. I still worship his music, and I worship him as a guitar player, always will, no matter what.
That's great. That's great to hear.
Definitely.
You share so many great stories. Rock and roll access in the book. Is there any that we left out? Anything after it was done, you said, "Oh, I should have told that story."
Oh, yeah.
You got a best? You got a favorite?
Yeah, oh God, I don't know. It sort of hits you on a daily basis, when you just putz around and you think, oh man, I should have said that. Why didn't I say that in the book? Oh well, I'll probably put it in the movie or,
Yeah.
save it for something. So right now, I've got a lot. There's a lot of dirt in that book. A lot of stories. There's a lot of really funny stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid funny stuff.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the cockroach story, the cheesecake story. I mean, there's just so much funny stuff.
Well, I'm going to tell one, because I literally laughed a lot when I read it. The story of when he came back from the European tour with Bon Jovi. Just saying.
This is before marriage and kids. No marriage, no kids. You're all single.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're telling your mom that you can't go to the bathroom.
Oh God.
Now you have to do the mom accent too.
Okay. Oh boy. We had been on tour. We'd been through Europe, and we're traveling. Your clock gets off. You don't eat when you're supposed to eat. You don't sleep when you're supposed to sleep. And you can't go to the Gotta go to the bathroom. So I get home to my mother and father's house after we've been gone for maybe 8 weeks through Europe, and I can't go. I can't go. I'm hurting. Mom, help me. What do I do? She says, "Oh, Lita, we're going to have to give you some castor oil." I'm thinking, what the hell's castor oil? So she gives me this stuff. The next morning, she says, you'll be fine, you go. Next morning, it's nothing. So she says, we're going to give you some X-Lax tonight. So tonight, we get the X-Lax. The next morning, when we're going on like 5 days here, I'm dying. I've got all of England and Germany and France. It's just all in me, and I want to get it out. So we get the chocolate X-Lax and nothing the next morning, nothing. So she says, Christ, Lita, we're going to have to give you some dynamite. It's a long story. You sure you want me to go?
Oh yeah, you gotta do the whole time. Yeah.
Oh my God, okay, I can't believe this. A couple of days go by, I go to this health food store and I buy this stuff called Morning Rose tea. Well, I don't know why they call it Morning Rose, but it was
Morning
pretty
rolls on you
common.
pretty good.
So I get the Morning Rose tea, and then here I go, the next morning, nothing. I've been home now for 4 days, and nothing. I've got a meeting in Hollywood. I've got to get in the car and drive to Hollywood. I live in Long Beach, which is about an hour and a half, an hour drive, depending on traffic and the time of day. So this is lunchtime. Hollywood freeway, rush hour traffic. I am stuck in rush hour traffic. Of course, everything just goes. It's a low gear. It's like Dumb and Dumber. On the freeway, and I'm looking around going, how do I go to the bathroom? Are you kidding me now? So I get off and I find this hotel. I get off the freeway in this really wacky part of town, not a good area. And there's this little hotel off to the side of the freeway. And I just throw my car into park and go flying through the lobby. And you got a bathroom? Go this way. Okay. Flying through the lobby into the bathroom. And I'm in the toilet, relieving myself, holding up my tampon strings. And this woman follows me into the bathroom, and she's peeking through the crack. I can see her. She's trying to see through the crack. And she says, "Excuse me." And I've got like England is coming out, France, and I'm dying. I'm holding up my string. She says, "Aren't you the girl that sings 'Kiss Me Deadly'?"
France, you gotta love it.
I said, "Yes, I am. You wait outside."
There's many of those, folks, many of those. I love that.
Dumb and Dumber.
Now, much of the underlying theme on many of the stories, many of the events in your life have a female in rock kind of alienation, where there's not an acceptance and non-acceptance. Do you think that's changed? I see so many. There's so many women-led rock bands. I mean, heavy, hard metal bands. They're just incredible too.
Yeah.
There's so many women, and there doesn't seem to be a difference. I see, men loving bands, and there never seems to be any. She's a still see the George Lynch's of the world? You'll understand that when you read.
Yeah. Every once in a while, of course, there's the chauvinistic person who comes along. Yeah, you still see it, and I think you always will.
Unfortunately. Now you received the Guitar Player Magazine Certified Guitar Legend Award in 2014. And when you tell about it in the book, you say it made your life complete. That's really major for an award. Why does it hold that much weight? And would an induction into the Hall of Fame or a Grammy hold that much weight for you?
Oh, God. Absolutely. I think just being nominated for a Grammy holds a lot of weight too. You know, I've been nominated a few times. It's a great, great honor. Just to be there and see your name up on for what you have achieved, what you've done. But the Guitar Player Legend Award to me was a huge milestone and something that I had worked so many years to conquer, because it showed that not only did I get recognized as a guitar player, but I'm a chick at the same time, I'm a female. So at the same time, I killed two birds with one stone. And I was in great company with Les Paul being the first, and Joe Perry was the second. And then I was fourth person to get the Legend Award. So that was huge for me.
And that is huge, no doubt. Now you've really connected with Cherie over the past few years.
Yes.
And you guys were maybe, back when you were teens, and Runaway was very, very different people.
Yeah.
And there really wasn't a connection.
No.
But when Kim was passing, you went to see him. Cherie was taking care of him. And she was writing songs for Reveille, her solo. He wrote a song for you, and you said it's going to be on the next album.
Yeah, you did.
Can you
got the
tell us a
lyrics.
little about the song? What kind of song?
You know, Kim, on his deathbed, he really showed different colors that I'd never seen before from him. Because he was always this cocky, pushy, bossy, you know, calling you names and pushing his weight around, and even doing things that were illegal, you know, to some of the girls, not me, but to some of the girls. And he said to me, you know, Lita, I've always been afraid of you. And I thought, really? Why? I've always been afraid of you. And I never knew that. But it explains why he never pushed me around. He never messed with me. I never got that side of him. So this song he wrote for me. I asked him to write me a song before he passed, because he writes in 5 minutes. He writes a song, Cherry Bomb, right? Stuff like that. This one song took him maybe a month. He couldn't quite come up with the lyrics, because I personally think that the song is about him and his feelings and inside. At the same time, it's about what happened to me and losing my boys to parental alienation. So it's called Bleed. And Kim knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to bleed, because he was one of those kids that was not wanted. His parents didn't want him. He was an unwanted child. And here I am being alienated from my kids, and I told Kim all about it. He said to me, was he controlling? I said, oh yeah, he was controlling. And he said, worse than me? It's like he wanted to be the worst. He wanted to be the worst. song Bleed is, the lyrics are amazing, and there's something that I think really came from his heart. And it showed me for the first time that this guy has a heart. I saw it for the first time in that song.
That's powerful. Yeah, we can't wait to hear that. You know, that's one thing about the book. You know, I think a lot of people see Lita Ford as you're a badass. You know, you don't take crap from anybody. That's always been you, and it was for Kim too, obviously. There's a little bit of fear when especially with a woman that's like that. You know, back off. I got a path to carve, and you're in my way. But the book takes us to a different dimension. We see vulnerability. We see, you know, like with the physical abuse with Tony, we see a more Shuri-like leader. Something that we've never seen really until the book. It's really a great thing.
I wanted to show that side to let people know that it's okay to be a human being. It's okay to do stupid things like, you know, not go to the bathroom. Or, you know, mess up your hair, or gain weight, or lose weight, or whatever the situation might be.
What's at the top of Lita's list? Of Lita's bucket list? You know, you've done it all. I mean, you've toured the world. You've nominated for a Grammy. You got awards all over. You've seen. Your eyes have seen things that we can't imagine seeing. What's the top thing on your list? What's the most before you go? What do you want to do?
A lot of things I want to do. I'm not done yet.
Nice to hear. Nice to hear.
I'd like to make a film, major motion film. But I want something like, you know, seeing this Mick Jagger, Scorsese. Is that out yet?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I just, you know, something that is haunting and really deep, and not necessarily the Runaways or so much music, but just something that is haunting and creepy and almost like a sleeping with the enemy kind of thing. That's what I'd like to do.
Now he's made a few movies.
Yeah.
You know, not music related.
Right.
So
He's so creative and stuff. Did you see his play when he was in Chicago?
yes.
It was
I
great.
heard you were there like the night after I went.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just incredible show.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I had a chance to see him live, not to get off track, but my God, if you have a chance to see Dee Snider,
Yeah, he's
God.
hot. He's got some energy, I know.
God, he's ripped.
He's so ripped.
But I mean, his voice is just, he's got so much energy, and he had
Yeah.
Joe Moster on guitar with him.
Yeah.
It was great.
Awesome.
Time capsule.
Yes.
Away from the book a little bit here. A new album, April 15th still?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a collection of things you it's a collection of things you found in a closet at the asylum.
Yes.
The house on the island.
Yeah.
Wow. Old tapes. And some of the guests here, kind of reads like this. Billy Sheehan, Jeff Scott Soto, Dave Navarro, Rick Nielsen, Robin Zander, Gene Simmons.
Yeah, it's really rocking. It's rocking stuff.
And this was all recorded back, what, 80s?
This was in the 80s, late 80s, and these were just fun sessions that we didn't have a record company, we didn't have the pressures of anybody saying, you've got to write this kind of song, or you know, we want this. These were just jam sessions, and they're amazing songs, that I've got these great musicians to play them. They're on 24-track analog tapes. We had them transferred to digital, and we remixed them. And
Gary O?
no, actually, it was Bobby Collin, my manager, and I, and our engineer, Bill Gall. We went into the studio, we baked the tapes because they were old. So we wanted to make sure that when we put them on reel, they don't flake because they're old. So we baked them. I don't know, we put them in a big room and we baked them. And then you transfer them over to digital, and then you've got the original stuff. We didn't change any notes, any vocal. I mean, anything that's out of tune is still out of tune. You know, you hear people laughing, dogs are barking, people are farting. It's all on there, and it's really cool.
Well, see, that's what I love about the old records, like the first Runaways album. They're on mistakes. It's raw.
Yeah.
It's raw energy, and that's, you don't get that in digital.
Right.
You know, so that's, I look forward to that.
We
for sure.
we spoke with Gene Simmons just what was today. Got an email from him yesterday, and he says, tell me about this Time Capsule album. And I sent him some pictures. Like, remember this? And, oh, great. I wish you all the best. And Bruce Kulick, who was in KISS for a while, he wrote back, send me those pictures too. I want to have some of those. The buzz around Hollywood is amazing on this album. So I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
That's great. Now that's all recorded. That was all recorded and everything. I believe it's going to be on another studio.
Yes. Yes.
Is that in the works?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's about half ready. Yeah.
Wow. You are just.
I'm busy.
Man, busy. 15 years of nothing, and then bam.
Yeah.
That's great.
15 years, 2 boys.
Well, that's work, believe it. Yeah. What do you want people to take away from it? How should people fill in the blank? Lita Ford, she's.
Oh boy. A lot of things. A human being. Just a normal human being. I want people to know one thing that I think needs to come out of the closet. There's so many things over the years that have come out of the closet, homosexuality. People have created things like the Amber Alert, child abuse. One of them is parental alienation, and a lot of people don't know what that is. That it has a terminology, that it is a form of child abuse, and we need to change the legal system. The legal system is not for our families. They don't help our children. They're actually doing the opposite, and they take your money. They don't care if you sell your house. They don't care if you sell your cars to pay your legal bills. They don't care if your kids are damaged from all of it. That needs to be changed. We need to stop paying these attorneys, and they need to help us. And this I found out the hard way. I found out by losing my kids to parental alienation. And I haven't seen my kids in 5 years because my ex-husband took them, and I don't know where they are. And I have connections, I have money, I can find them. I still can't find them. You'd think that you'd hire an investigator or whatever it takes to find them, but it takes something that's really wrong with the legal system and really evil in an ex-spouse to do something like that to a child. And I would like to see change in our legal system. I would like to see parental alienation become illegal and stop ripping us off from our homes and our families.
Let's wind it up. Oh, no, it fills, and that's the book. It fills me up to hear that, having two of my own, and I just can't imagine. But the book is like that.
Yeah.
You know, as you read it, you'll laugh at the constipation, you know, but you'll cry at the loss.
Yeah.
And everything in between. It covers every emotion.
Yeah.
And it's really a wonderful read. I want to close with something from Kim Fowler, and just say that as foul and nasty as he was at times, I'm just really thankful for Kim Fowler because you might not have it for Joe Chad or the Runaways. He was a true visionary. The first time he spoke to you on the phone, it's in the book, I'll loosely quote it here, keep it fairly PG. But he told you to be on the cover of every magazine,
Yeah.
play the biggest arenas, have sex with the best rock stars.
Yeah.
And in closing, he said, "You will become a legend." Ladies and gentlemen, a legend.